Hello everyone and welcome back to MMA Lad. In today's news, Dan Hooker gets honest about Volk's KO loss to Topuria. We're just days away from UFC 314 fight week in Miami, and one of the biggest questions heading in is, what version of Alexander Volkanovski are we going to get? After taking a 14-month break, Volk is stepping back into the octagon to face Diego Lopez for the vacant featherweight title. But fans haven't forgotten those back-to-back knockout losses, first to Islam Makhachev and then Ilia Topuria. Now Volk's longtime teammate Dan Hooker is speaking out, and he's not sugarcoating anything. In an interview with Sky Sports, Hooker broke down what really went wrong in Volk's fight with Topuria. He said,
he just turned that too quickly around from the Islam Makhachev fight. I don't think Ilia Topuria did anything that incredible. I feel like he just fought, and I've been there. When I fought Paul Felder, and then I fought Dustin Poirier kind of back to back, and then rushed into the Michael Chandler fight. It's not like Michael Chandler did anything that was lightning incredible. It's just like, you need to learn that as a veteran fighter, and there's only one way to learn it, and that's the hard way. Is just the body can only take so much punishment before it needs time to fully recoup. And especially if you're fighting these 5-round fights, you need to be putting a good amount of stretch, and it takes longer to recover from a 5-round fight, especially what Volkanovski's been going through, 5-round championship training camps, and just putting them so consistently, because he has been one of the most consistent champions for the UFC, stepping up to the plate, fighting, jumping in on short notice. Like, he just needed a bit more time between these fights to let his...
Hooker believes these quick turnarounds, especially after 5-round title fights, take a serious toll, and Volk's run of short notice bouts and constant championship training camps finally caught up with him. Chael Sonnen weighs in on Volk's situation ahead of UFC 314 fight.
It's a very tough spot. I mean, Volkanovski's name ever returning to the discussion of a title fight, that will simply never happen again. Volkanovski's name popping up with the right kind of loss, and I'm talking about if he gets laid out or he gets stopped, which is Lopez's greatest path to victory, by the way, people are going to be calling for a retirement. That's going to give him four losses out of his last 5. It's going to be a number of years spread over a couple of different weight classes. I don't take a pride in that. When I'm trying to look at it and analyze it and think about who's got the pressure, and pressure matters. Daniel, guys like you and I talk about pressure all the time, but we forget to explain to the audience. The reason why that matters is pressure creates a fatigue. And in a sport that's built around exhaustion, you don't want to be the one to get tired first. So if the other guy could have a little bit more pressure, and yes, I think that Volk is not only fighting for a world title, I think that he is fighting for his career.
Let us know if you agree with Uncle Sonnen on this. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Dustin Poirier returns. Dustin Poirier is back in the UFC spotlight, but not inside the cage. Instead of walking out with gloves on, the Diamond is putting on a headset and joining the broadcast team for UFC 314. That's right, Poirier will serve as a desk analyst, sitting alongside Chael Sonnen and light heavyweight veteran Anthony Smith throughout the night, offering insight before, during, and after the card. The post-fight show is where he'll shine, breaking down all the chaos with the kind of fight IQ only a veteran like Dustin can bring. John Anik will be back doing what he does best, leading the play-by-play from cage side, with Daniel Cormier and Joe Rogan handling commentary duties. That's a stacked broadcast booth for a card that's already buzzing. This will be Poirier's 4th time in the analyst chair, after making his debut at UFC 287 in Miami and later returning for UFC 303 and UFC 308. And the timing couldn't be more interesting, because Michael Chandler, Poirier's former opponent in one of the wildest fights of 2022, is also on this card, taking on Paddy Pimblett in a fight that's got fans talking. Henry Cejudo picks Paddy over Chandler at UFC 314.
I think with Paddy Pimblett, dude, I think he's gonna bring in the grapple. I think he might pull guard on this dude.
You said pull guard?
He might. If he cannot take Michael Chandler down, he's more likely going to have to do that. But I just feel like Paddy Pimblett, he's a lot better than what I thought. What he was able to do to Bobby Green, his transitional stuff. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, we gotta put some respect on that dude's name. And he's only gotten better, bro. Like, I just feel like with Michael Chandler, I think the UFC know what they're doing, and they're doing a 5-rounder. Like, think about it too. I think Paddy Pimblett is a lot better than what we think, and I'm smelling an upset here, and I do believe that he could a win over Michael Chandler could put him in a really good position where he could be one fight away from fighting for the title.
Do you agree with him? Robert Whittaker calls out MMA fans. Volk's return has stirred up all kinds of debate, but nobody's been more vocal than Robert Whittaker. He's not holding back when it comes to fans who turned on Volkanovski after his losses. Whitaker expressed frustration about how quickly fighters go from legends to washed up in the eyes of fans, and he's not afraid to call out that toxic cycle. And he's not wrong.
The $1 million question is what Volk are we going to see in the octagon come that night, UFC 314? Because he's everyone was already talking about his losses to Makhachev, his knockout, and then you back that onto the knockout with Poirier, back that onto his age, and as MMA fans like to do, as soon as he lost, they started throwing his age around and calling him a wash, which is the silliest thing I've ever heard. Like, MMA fans are the best and worst of us as people.
Whitaker's message is clear. Respect the legacy even when the road gets rough. Tom Aspinall gets wrecked by CrossFit. Our interim heavyweight champ Tom Aspinall just took on his first ever CrossFit workout, and it absolutely destroyed him. In a video posted on his YouTube channel, Aspinall looked completely gassed and admitted that even though he's a pro athlete, CrossFit is no joke. He was sweaty, breathing hard, and clearly fighting through a cold.
I don't know, it doesn't say calories. 43.
How are we summarising CrossFit?
Yeah, that was tough. I still think there's some CrossFit f***ers out there, but it's not that easy. To be honest.
Well, I guess not everything has to be life or death in the cage. Sometimes it's about realizing that even champs get humbled in a gym session. Michael Chandler responds to cheating accusations. And now, let's talk about Michael Chandler, because he's finally clapping back at accusations that he's a dirty fighter. With his fight against Paddy Pimblett coming up, some fans have resurfaced footage from his losses to Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira, claiming Chandler has a habit of bending the rules. In a new interview with Mike Heck of MMA Fighting, Chandler responded saying,
I mean, the narrative is tough, man. People don't really know me. Like, unless you're in my inner circle, you don't know who I truly am outside of in front of the camera. People have their sneaky suspicions that I'm I play nice in front of the camera and I'm a bad guy behind the camera. You're always going to have those accusations, right? But I know who I am, and I know who I am at my core. I'm a guy who tries to do things right, tries to treat people right, do things with honor and respect. So the cheating narrative is a little tough for me, but also it's all part of the court of public opinion, man. Did I grab Dustin Poirier's mouthpiece? Yes, I did, because I thought it was his chin. I've already addressed that one. Things happen in a fight. Are you going to reach over and grab the cage? Are you going to, get your fingers in the glove? Yeah, those things are going to happen in a fight. In the last fight, Charles Oliveira dug his chin so deep into my eye socket that I thought I was going to go blind, which is illegal. It's an eye gouge, right? He was grabbing my gloves when he was trying to choke me. Like, there was these things happen when you're inside of the cage. I would never say that Charles Oliveira is a cheater. His body is reacting and doing things without his brain's permission, all right? You're in fight or flight.
Do you also think Chandler is just a dirty fighter and all these are mere excuses? Share your thoughts down in the comment section. Jared Cannonier calls out Sean Strickland.
You're now back in the fucking mix. So what do we see next for you?
Who do you want?
Yeah.
2 rematches I would love to have against Sean Strickland and Robert Whitaker.
I would love to see Jared and Strickland.
Again?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's what we would get, because last time I fought him, he said it himself, he fought like a bitch. I felt like he didn't come forward like he used, like I expected him to. I believe that he would fight me, and that would be a fun ass fight, because I was really looking forward to the first fight that we had. To be honest, I got kind of frustrated and kind of bored because he wasn't going forward as much.
I mean, I can see that again.
So hopefully he fights and he comes forward like he usually does, whether he's throwing his jabs and his teeth to whatever effect they're going to be against me.
He's going to play the point.
If this fight happens, who do you think would win? Evloev versus Pico announced. Now here's a fight you didn't see coming. Movsar Evloev versus Aaron Pico is going down May 17th at the UFC Apex. In his last fight, Evloev beat Aljamain Sterling at UFC 310 and is still undefeated. Pico meanwhile is coming off a 3-fight win streak and making his UFC debut after years in Bellator and a brief appearance in PFL. This is a serious step up for Pico and a dangerous test for Evloev. Also on that card, Curtis Blades versus Razvan Kuniev and Paul Craig versus Ralpho Bellato in a light heavyweight showdown. This Apex event is looking much bigger than usual, and this featherweight fight might steal the show. Trevor Peek out of May 3rd fight event. UFC lightweight Trevor Peek has been pulled from his May 3rd bout with Yong Lee after suffering a leg fracture during training at the UFC Performance Institute. In an emotional Instagram video, Peek said,
"I actually fractured my leg at the Performance Institution on Friday. It's not a bad fracture. I still have to go get CT scans in the next day or two and figure out like if I've got any kind of ligament damage or anything like that. I wish I had a cool story on how I did it, but I got on some soft mats and was jump roping. I was alternating each leg. I'd been jump roping probably 20 something minutes and got a little tired, a little careless, and wasn't paying attention. I come down with all my weight on my left leg, and it sounded like a shotgun whenever it went off. It popped. Unfortunately, I was on the UFC's premises whenever I did it, so they knew about it. If there was a way to just take this thing and get by and not let anybody know, I certainly would have tried my best to make May 3rd happen. I mean, I've always rolled with the punches, and
The guy's very tough, but this sport doesn't care. Injuries happen, and even the smallest step miscalculation can cost you a fight. As we wrap it up, let us know your final predictions ahead of UFC 314. And if you enjoyed the updates, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily MMA news. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.